What is going on, and welcome back to another Galaxy of Heroes video, ladies and gentlemen of the tribe. We got the Jar Jar kit reveal, and I was having a look at it last night, and we even had a sneaky little chat with Mr. Meathead himself. That's right, community manager Meathead joined us on stream last night for a little bit of a chat. Not much about Jar Jar, but there were a few nuggets. Let's break down this kit, though. And there he is in all of his beautiful glory. Look at Jar Binks. How wooed. He looks awesome. I gotta be honest, guys, before we break into this, the animations on this are freaking phenomenal. Meathead did say that the sound files that are associated with this are completely on point. I really hope they actually got Ahmed Best in to come in and actually do the voice for Jar Jar, and they didn't just use, snippets. If they do, just have sound clips from, films, TV, media, all that sort of business, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm hoping that we've got some fresh audio clips to listen to. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick. All right, cool. So, there's some cool, interesting things about Jar Jar. All we know, first and foremost, is he's dropping May 2nd, not May 4th, like we originally believed, and it's going to be active for a week. I checked directly with Meathead on this. They haven't announced what the cadence for this event is. If it's around for a week, we know that it's not going to be permanently in the journey guide, which raises a few concerns. Jar Jar is going to be the pivotal featured unit for the new raid. He's going to be the best performing team and faction and character in this new raid. Very important that you get him. If he is on rotation, that's going to be very bad news for the player base. So I don't like this approach. I will say right now and here and now that I don't like this approach to a phased release for Jar Jar. If this is monthly like Bo-Katan, it's a little bit more bearable, but honestly speaking, I think it is a bit harsh on the player base to lock this character behind a cadence. If it's like a 3-4 month one, or God forbid, if it's like 6 months like we had with Jedi Knight Cal, this is a bad move. Thumbs down from me on that one, CG. I'm sorry. This should either be permanently available or permanently available, in my opinion, because it is part of the new raid and people need to be able to unlock it in a timely manner. All right, so what do we need? We need the 4 Gungans at Relic 5. You need your Boss Nass, your Tarpals, your Phalanx, your Boomadeer, all of them at Relic 5. And his Omicrons are all GAC ones. They say he's already going to be very good in the Naboo raid, which we already assumed, and Jar Jar can't assist. Now, he also has this unique mechanic. Every one of his abilities has a 0.01% chance of doing something incredibly weird and random. It depends on the ability, but it sounds freaking awesome. It's a higher percent chance if it's up against Separatist, 1% essentially. So let's go ahead and check it out. Abilities basic, how wooed. Every one of his abilities are actually AoEs, and I just love this little hammer toss spin throw thing. It's brilliant. Deal special damage to all enemies. On his turn, 1 of 3 effects are going to occur. You inflict death mark for 1 turn to the healthiest enemy, which can't be resisted if they have at least 3 debuffs. The weakest Gungan ally is going to gain damage immunity for 1 turn, or Gungan allies gain tenacity up for 1 turn. It's kind of cool. Random effects, they're all pretty good. Tenacity up is a really great buff. Damage immunity on your Gungans is huge. Death mark on an enemy is really good, and there's so many debuffs on this team that you're probably always going to have that opportunity. Additionally, this attack has a 0.01% chance to instantly defeat a random enemy, which cannot be evaded, increased to 1% chance if there are any Separatist enemies. This attack cannot be countered. I love that it can't be countered. That's really huge. An AoE on a basic that can't be countered, that can insta-kill, is kind of crazy. I know it's a very, very low chance of happening, and you can't call him to assist, so it's not like you can increase those odds. If there is any Separatist enemy that is alive when you use this ability, that's all that matters when it goes to trigger. So you can face off against Bounty Hunters with Jango Fett and trigger it. You can face off against Night Sisters that have got Asajj, and that will trigger it as well. So, special one. Big Boomers. I love this animation. The way he just runs away. You see his tongue flapping and everything. It's brilliant. I can't wait to hear the soundbite for this. Big Boomers. Final text. Deals special damage to all enemies. If the target enemy had any protection, stun them for 1 turn. Otherwise, inflict them with 3 exposes for 1 turn. 3 exposes. That's huge. And then you've got the same 0.01% chance for the enemy to lose all of their turn meter and get feared, which can't be copied, dispelled, prevented, or resisted. Obviously, this is a 1% chance if there are any Separatist enemies. If all allies are Gungans, all enemies are inflicted with plasma residue for 1 turn, which can't be copied. That's right, not only do we have blue balls from the Gungans, you've got motorboating from Boss Nass, you can also cover them in your plasma. The memes just make themselves. What does plasma residue do? Well, this character loses 100% evasion Nice, can't miss. If this character becomes inflicted with shock, deal reduced massive damage to all enemies with plasma residue, and then remove plasma residue. Now, I think 2 of the Gungans can apply shock, like on a basic with Tarpals or something like that. So, yeah, not bad. You can do AoE shocks, and that's going to... It's going to do reduced massive damage, which I think is like 66,000 or 69,000, something like that, which is really nice damage. This is one of his Omicrons as well. While in Grand Arena and all allies are Gunganos, dispel bonus protection and protection up from all enemies, and they lose 5% max health and max protection stacking, which can't be evaded for the rest of the encounter. Then they get protection disruption, so they lose all their protection. Plasma residue cannot be resisted, and whenever this ability is used, reduce the cooldown of all other Gungan allies' abilities by 1. That's really good, guys. There's nothing here that says, oh, doesn't happen if they're a galactic legend. It quite literally just reduces their max health and protection, gives them protection disruption, which removes it completely for 1 turn, so they've got no protection. Using it against another Gungan team, for example, you'll be able to kill them very, very quickly. And the plasma residue can't be resisted. It's huge. And then you decrease all your cooldowns by 1. Really, really strong army. Special 2, Wisa Warriors. Look at this. Oh, this animation is just so good. Look, he's got a B1 on his foot. Ah, it's just brilliant. Deals special damage to the target enemy and a random enemy. Gungan allies recover 10% protection. There's a 0.01% chance all Gungan allies recover all of their health and protection and gain 100% turn meter and gain foresight for 2 turns. 1% chance if there are all separatists, any separatists on the enemy team. That's kind of a nifty random chaotic bonus ability there. If all allies are Gungans, excluding summoned units, for each different debuff on the target enemy or random enemy that could be copied and dispelled, excluding stacking debuffs, that debuff is dispelled and inflicted on that enemy for 1 turn. So basically it says, oh, what are all your debuffs? Let's just reapply them. It doesn't matter for stacking debuffs, so stuff like exposes, which can stack, and dots and stuff like that, they won't reapply. These debuffs can't be dispelled or resisted, so it locks in those debuffs. This is why it's important that it doesn't lock in stuff like exposes, because then you could have like 5 exposures on the enemies locked in, you attack them and they don't trigger. All enemies are inflicted with 2 stacks of frustration, which is a brand new debuff for 1 turn, which can't be copied. Frustration, detrimental effects build up based on cumulative number of stacks. So, if they've got a stack of frustration, they can't assist or counterattack, which is great. If they've got 2 stacks, whenever this character gains bonus TM, remove 2 stacks of recharge from the shield generator and expose the character for 2 turns. And if they get 3 stacks, you remove all the stacks of frustration after this attack. But they also get ability blocked, essentially. But this is actually better than ability block, essentially. So if they get... some characters are immune to ability block, like Bam, for example. This one here doesn't read as ability block. It says their special abilities are unusable for 1 attack. And then they have all their frustration reset. It's kind of cool, right? So it kind of works... it's like an ability block without being an ability block. Unique 1, Misa, Okide, Zeta, and Omicron. At the start of battle, Jar Jar is going to lose 75% of his max health and gains that much max protection. This is exactly the same as all the other Gungans, right? At the start of battle, Jar Jar is inflicted with Death Mark until he receives damage or evades an attack. I absolutely love that they've put Death Mark on him. Jar Jar is a taunt because everybody wants to kill him. It's just perfect, it's thematic, it's on brand. If the enemy leader is a separatist at the start of the encounter, Jar Jar is going to gain 50 speed for the rest of the encounter. Jar Jar's debuffs can't be evaded, and he can't be called to assist. So his debuffs can still be resisted, but they can't be evaded. Can't be called to assist, which does make sense based on how his basic works. Whenever another character gains foresight, Jar Jar gains foresight. But whenever he gains foresight, he dispels it and blinds himself for a turn. So there we go. Whenever Jar Jar evades a basic ability, the enemy that missed is inflicted with a stack of frustration. And this is all going to make sense in a moment. And at the start of the next turn, which can't be copied or resisted. Whenever an enemy dazes, staggers, or stuns a Gungan ally, deathmark Jar Jar until he receives damage. So the funny thing is when you apply all this abilities, I know it's like, oh, he gets foresight, but then he blinds himself. There's a couple of things that go on in play here. One is, with this Omicron, Jar Jar has got 1,000 evasion. You're not going to hit him unless you've got attacks that can't miss. You're not going to hit a person with 1,000 evasion. It's just not going to happen, guys. It ain't going to happen. And that means you miss, which means you get frustration. It's so thematic. It just works. Whenever a character gains a bonus turn meter, Jar Jar has a 1% chance of also gaining bonus turn meter, increased to 10% chance if it is an enemy. Because this is just like any character gaining bonus TM, he gains bonus TM. 10% chance if it's the enemy, so it's really good. He's going to be interrupting people all the time. Whenever this effect occurs, Jar Jar can't gain another bonus turn from this ability for 2 turns. While in Grand Arena, and all allies are Gungans, whenever the shield generator uses Plasma Pulse, reset all of Jar Jar's cooldowns. Whenever a Gungan ally is dazed, staggered, or stunned, they dispel it and gain shield up for 2 turns, which is essentially bonus protection based on their max protection. Really, really good stuff. Unique 2, Moi, I love you. Gungan allies have 75% additional accuracy. If the enemy leader is Separatist at the start of the encounter, all Gungan allies gain 50% max protection until the end of the encounter and or Jar Jar is defeated for the first time. At the start of the first turn, if there are no Galactic Legends, all enemies are inflicted with a stack of Frustration for 1 turn, increased to 3 stacks if they are all stealthed. So, you know, Maul lead Sith and Darth Maul stuff and Bad Batch. Couple of things that will work against, which can't be resisted. If different enemies take consecutive turns, a random Gungan ally gains a bonus turn. That is so good. So, like, Imperial Troopers, for example, they start building up turns. Gungan allies are just going to be like, no, hang on, hold on a minute. This is going to wreck Imperial Troopers. Whenever Jar Jar misses an attack on his turn, all other Gungan allies assist. So he's blinding himself when he's gaining that foresight. He goes to attack, he misses, then all of the Gungan allies assist, which is a bunch of debuffs. It's going to be calls to assists, bonus turn meter. It's going to be amazing. Dealing 50% less damage. Whenever the allied shield generator uses Plasma Pulse, Gungan allies ignore protection for 1 attack. Like this, he is going to transform that Gungan team. It's going to be really, really good. If there is an ally shield generator, Gungan allies cannot drop below 100% health when they have protection, and they cannot be instantly defeated. This part here is the saving grace of Gungans right now. They transfer all of their max health into protection. So everybody was theorizing, oh, well, if we just hit under protection with characters like Sith Assassin or Sith Empire Trooper or Ben Kenobi, for example, it'll just instantly kill all of the Gungans. Nope, not with Jar Jar on the field. Not even an Omicron, so it applies to all game modes. As long as you have a shield generator and Jar Jar, you cannot drop below 100% health when you've got protection, and you cannot be instantly defeated, so you can't be insta-killed. So good, guys, so good. I can't even stress how good that ability is. And that's not even an Omicron. It's probably the Zeta aspect of this ability. So the Omicron then, at the start of the first turn, if the allied shield generator gains 2 stacks of plasma shielding for every 3 relic amplify levels on Jar Jar. So the more relics, the better off you're going to be. Whenever a non-Gungan ally gains damage immunity, all Gungan allies gain damage immunity. Oh, sorry, whenever a non-Gungan enemy gains damage immunity. So whenever the enemies gain damage immunity, we're all gaining damage immunity too. So think about it going up against, say, the likes of JMK. It's going to start off his turn. He's going to use damage immunity, reset the cooldowns on Cat. All of a sudden, all your characters gain damage immunity. Oh, I'm sorry, we've got a shield generator. You can't insta-kill with Cat. Oh my gosh, we've got stuff that dispels bonus protection from JMK. Think this is going to beat JMK, guys. Whenever a Gungan ally gains a bonus turn from this ability, they gain 5% mastery until the end of the encounter. You just have to love it. You just have to love it. So it feels very, like that last unique feels very anti-JMK, right? And I know it says here at the start, if there are no Galactic Legends on the field, I'm talking about the other sections earlier where you're like, oh, okay, you're still actually going to be gaining damage immunity on the team. You're still going to be immune to insta-kills and all that sort of business. So it's still going to work out rather well. Overall, guys, I think this kit looks freaking phenomenal. It looks really, really good. It's like, I can see it now that Gungans are going to be a really strong contender. I think they've got capabilities to beat some GLs, and I think defensively they're going to be a bit of a nightmare. You just kind of have to focus on that shield generator, get that out of there, and all of a sudden it becomes a lot less of a threat. Don't forget, we are also going to be getting a Datacron for these Gungans, most likely, when the new Datacron set comes in. So I imagine Jar Jar, Boss Nass, and Tarpals are probably going to get level 9s. It's going to be a powerful team. We're all going to want it. I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you have the opportunity to switch farms over to Gungans, get it done when they become free-to-play farmable. You will not regret it. Amazing, but I want to know your thoughts at home, guys. What do you think about new Jar Jar and the Gungan faction as a whole? Are you pushing for it? Are you going to be ready? And big shout out to my wonderful patrons. Thank you all for your continued support. Until the very next video, tribe. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.